Here we are then for another F1 My Team race weekend, and today we're here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix at Baku. If you haven't seen the previous one at Monaco, go check it out because there are spoilers ahead, so I would recommend checking it out. Link in the top right before we jump into the business end of this one. So, Baku, a track which, I'm not the biggest fan of, but still, we're looking to try and get back into the points. We missed out in Monaco. It wasn't really the best of weekends. I messed up qualifying. That was the real issue, in my opinion. I think the race pace also wasn't quite there. Similar to FP2 in Baku, the pace wasn't quite there, but qualifying was the real Achilles heel in Monaco. And I'm looking to try and get back into the points. Now, practice, we did it on 96 AI. We're a second behind Paul Chair, albeit on a slower compound, but still, a second is a reasonable gap. For qualifying, we're going to bump up the AI to 98. However, before we do that, let's quickly run through the updates. So, as you can see, we have a big upgrade package on the car again this weekend, and Williams have also joined us with the upgrades as the field gets even closer. Only Mercedes and also Alpine bringing other upgrades, but we're now getting pretty damn close to the cars ahead as we really join in that midfield battle. We also have a minor upgrade for the engine power on the way, arriving after this race. And also, last episode we purchased level 1 on Simulator, Fitness Center and Analysis Suite, which we are waiting for right now and pending, and this should arrive for the next race on the personnel department. So once that all arrives, it should improve Paul Chair's pace even more. There is confirmation of the 98 AI, which we're going to use in qualifying. And here you can see after practice, we got pretty much purple and everything and got a bunch of discounts on the key areas, which is going to be the chassis, the engine and the aero. So yeah, the weekend is off to a decent start. Like I said before, admittedly, I think we're lacking a bit of pace here, similar to Monaco, but we'll try and turn it around. I feel like one issue here is that I wasn't able to find the setup, so I went to the time trial leaderboards and there wasn't really anything there worth using. And all of the guys I've got my friends list, the esports drivers, haven't actually set a lap yet, so there's not actually a really good time trial setup available on PC around Baku. So I basically just used a modified version of my Austrian Grand Prix setup, which I used last night in my first league race. Video on that tomorrow. In the meantime, though, you can see we hit the wall and I got damage on my first lap in qualifying, and it was a pretty hefty shunt. We're going to get orange wing damage, and since the latest patch, wing damage is now more noticeable than before, so you're going to have to pit to get a repair. Nonetheless, I wanted to finish a lap anyway, just because I wanted to have a decent lap time register as my delta. In hindsight, I wish I'd pit, because it's going to mean we're not going to have time for 2 runs, only 1 more, which is not ideal. As you see now, we got back on track eventually for our final run. Once we got back to the pits, done the repairs and changed the tyres, I found we only have about 6.5-7 minutes left, which isn't enough for 2 laps. So with this last lap attempt, we're going to send it and give it everything. So down to turn 1, brake on the curb on the right, down to 4th, try to pick up the apex and traction up on that curb as we find the 10th straight away. Into turn 2, 3rd gear, we just clip the inside curb, which upsets the balance of the car, and as a result we lose traction, which isn't ideal. Down to turn 3, spot the 100 on the right, down to 3rd, getting very close to the wall on the inside and on the exit. Turn 4, back down to 3rd briefly as we short shift to 4th to try and get some nice clean traction. First sector only half a tenth up, which isn't the improvement that I hoped for, but then through here I actually started drifting through the chicane and I lost the back end on exit, and we've dumped 3 tenths with that mistake, which is really unfortunate as Sebastian Vettel has retired from the session. Bit of a correction there going to the castle, so not really optimizing the line, and it's been a scruffy lap so far. However, this is where we hit the wall last time, so we might be able to recover some time in this final sector, making our way into the brake zone, hard on the anchors, down to 4th, but again we run it in hot, and you can see my hands go up in frustration, and I don't know why I was suffering with a lot of understeer, and I don't really understand the reason or the root cause why. I think I was running like 19-13 wings, which is quite aggressive in terms of turning, yet I still had a massive amount of understeer, so we're going to have to suffer with that for the race as well, which isn't ideal. Either way, we're out in Q1, P22 and last place, and we hold up the L as it wasn't the best of sessions. Now, realistically, let's talk about the session because sure, there was that mistake, and I think you could probably at least say we improved by half a second in the final sector. And then, of course, we dumped those 3/10 with that mistake on the final lap. And there was about a 10th in the first sector. So I reckon I could have maybe improved by about 6, maybe 7/10 at an absolute push, which would have given us maybe P18. But Paul Chetter still running at a decent pace. And he's going to start from at least P16 as he gets himself into Q2. So what I will say is I'm going to keep the AR98 for the race because it seems like I may have miscalculated and gone a bit too high too soon, as we're nearly a second off our teammate. So, yeah, we're going to run 98 for the race, and that should still be okay. I was debating up to 100, but I'm going to play it safe because realistically we have a bit of recovery on our hands. Also worth noting, Pierre Gasly has a grid penalty. So, let's get into the race.
And a warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku, and home, of course, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today. So our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully out of the barriers. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Norris, Fernando Alonso and Joe, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Perez and Mick Schumacher, Russell, Magnussen, Esteban Ocon and Albon, Latifi, Théo Pourchaire, Jack Aitken and Sebastian Vettel, Tsunoda, Martinez, Stroll and Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Right, let's not beat around the bush. We're starting P20 and we have a lot of work to do. So for this one, we're going to start medium and then jump onto the hard, possibly the soft. We'll see how it goes. Possible safety cars can always create a disruption. Fuel load, we're going to go for a lap extra, should be fine, and no dramas on that front. And yeah, let's just get into it and waste no time because I think we can still get points and the race pace is usually better than our qualifying pace. Now, as always, hopefully you enjoy the race. If you do, leave a like and let's try and smash over 1,000 likes because we've had a pretty good run of doing so on this series. So any support would be massively appreciated. And also in the comment section, leave your prediction and then edit the comment after the race is finished and let me know if you're right or wrong. Anyway, that aside, just trying to get a last bit of rear tyre temp and front temp. Rear grip's going to be a problem here, I think, so we need to make sure with all our tyres working. Even the fronts, to be fair, we're struggling to understeer in qualifying. Full chair starting P16, so we'll see how that works out. Anyway, let's point the car aggressively here. I want to try and see if I can be a bit more aggressive on this first lap, although I'm a bit scared about the narrowness of the circuit with the AI. Anyway, let's get into it. Here we go. Underway, good start. Nice bit of traction there as we head down to turn 1. Up the inside, although we've got, I think that's Gasly on the inside as well. Luckily, we still managed to stay in front. We're going to send one on Aitken here as he's on the hard tyres, so ideally we need to pass him. Aitken gets some decent traction though, out of turn 2, fair play. Now drag race down to turn 3. We'll have a look on the inside. Almost running into the back of Seb Vettel, but luckily we just about don't run into the back of him. Now taking the defensive line to turn 4, so I got a hit in the rear from someone. Up to P18 though, good start, 2 places gained. Gonna try and have a look around the outside of Seb here, which gives us the inside into the second part of the chicane. And another one down. Up next is Théo Pourchaire, although I'm not going to go for an aggressive move with my teammate, as, you know, he's our teammate. But P17, good start. as we now head for the castle. I'm trying to scratch my ankle as I can feel something's itching me. Luckily we survive, and now we can start to push a little bit. Let's crank up the diff a little bit, try to get some rear traction on the go. Looks like we are pretty slow on the straight, which is not ideal. Let's not hit the wall like in qualifying. Nice. Look at that, Seb putting some big pressure on here. It's not going to be easy to keep him behind. Let's see, here we go into the main straight. I've saved most of my battery for this. We're going to see if the drag reduction upgrades are going to help us out. I think I'm going to be slow in the first phase of the straight, but then in the second phase we should be better as we hit VMAX. Here comes Sebastian Vettel closing in. I'm going to keep my battery switched on to try and stay ahead, and now we're just edging in front. Okay, let's slow down into turn 1. Horrible exit, but we stay ahead. Just got to try and get another good exit here out of turn 2 now, and then we can settle into this race into the second sector. There we go, Seb drops off. Right, breathe, good start, up 3 places. Now we can try to get a bit of recharge going on the battery, as that is going to be really key this race. First warning for track limits, just running a little bit wide there. I did back off, I did, take my foot off to the gas, but it's still registered as a track limit warning. So yeah, meanwhile further back, Tsunoda's actually passed Sebastian Vettel, so Seb now dropping backwards. Meanwhile, we're just chilling behind Pourchaire, Latifi and Albon as the cars ahead start to break away a little bit. The pack has broken up and the DRS train has separated. Yellow flag.
Green flag.
So someone's had an issue.
Caution, the virtual safety car has just been deployed due to build-up of debris on the track.
One of the AlphaTauris out of the race, Pierre Gasly. I think it's not going to go to a full safety car though, so that's okay. If it did go to a full safety car, I'd go for the hard tyre and go to the end, but I think it's staying virtual. I mean, I still might consider the hard tyre if it stays out until the end of the lap.
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until we get the green flags. VSC ending. Wait for the greens.
Well, they're not ideal. Didn't get to pit under that VSC, but the good thing about it is that we gained a bit of time. Even though I still dropped a second on the Delta, we're closer to Pourchaire than what we were last lap. Worth noting Albon on the hard tyre, so Pourchaire should get by here hopefully. That's what Latifi's done. Let's try and stick with it. May get a chance to even pass both of them, to be fair. We've also managed to recharge our battery thanks to that virtual safety car, so that's done us a favour. Let's see if Pourchaire can get past Albon. That would be ideal. Someone's going slow ahead of us because we've all reformed into a long train and the pace is dropping, so someone or something's happening at the front of this train. I can't see from here, but it runs into the points, so that's positive. It means that we're battling for points this race and we're all in the fight together. Just need Pourchaire to show a bit of aggression, man. Who knows, maybe with those personnel department upgrades he may be able to actually pass Albon, but he doesn't have them yet. He'll have them for the next race. Magnussen in the pits. That might explain the drop in pace and why the pack really bunched up there. So up to P16 now, Pourchaire up to P15. Still not able to get past Albon though. I might have to consider passing them both, which I don't want to do, but if I have to then I will, because we need to make some progress. Right, here we go. Let's try and get this move done. I'm feeling racy at this stage of the race. Pourchaire isn't really doing the job. We need him to pass Albon on the hard tyre and it's not happening. I've got loads of battery to deploy, so we're going to use it. We may even have the chance to get both of them because I think Albon has dropped out of range from the cars ahead. If he still has DRS, then he's going to have it by the smallest of margins. But here we go. We're also forcing Pourchaire to use his battery. We're going to go to the inside and pick this one up into turn 1 though. Purple sector 3 as we got the inside into turn 1. Hopefully Pourchaire doesn't lose a place to Tsunoda. And now we can try and get Albon on that hard tyre, who's clearly struggling for pace. It's not going to happen on this straight though, I don't think. So we'll wait until the main straight at the end of the lap. Okay, let's do this. We're going to set Alex up for the move. He's not going to have DRS on Latifi. And by the way, that's a reference, if Pourchaire can't pass Albon and also be faster than Latifi in the Williams, then again, it's not good enough. We need to be beating Williams consistently. We're faster than them now. Anyway, let's go for the move here. We're going to use minimal ERS if I can avoid it, because I need to use the battery to catch back up to the train of cars ahead. Here we go though, closing in on Albon. He goes defensive, so we'll switch to the outside. On the braking. Around the outside, we get hit in the rear, I think, or my rear's locked. I can't quite tell what happened there. Albon though gets back ahead for now. I'm going to try and get him hit though. A little bit closer than last lap, so I think I should be able to pull this off. It's going to be close though. Up the inside. It's a bit tight, but we go through. And that might invite pull chair through at the same time, which is perfect. So that has worked out to perfection. And Teo's got it done. Lovely. Right, I'm not going to wait for him though. We're going to have to drive off and do our thing. We've lost a couple of seconds to the cars ahead, so let's push on now and use the battery we have left to join back up to the pack. Pushing very hard on this lap, over a second up on my PB as we've dropped pull chair and we're closing up to Latifi. Using a big chunk of battery to try and close up and get within DRS, otherwise we lose our half a second on the main straight alone. Latifi also struggling to hang on to Ocon here. Do I want to drain everything? I don't think I've got enough juice to really catch up on this straight. Might have to go a bit longer, so we're going to hold some of that battery back in the reserve. This is still going to be a personal best though. I'm nearly 2 seconds up. Now we're going to bleed a bit of time due to the lack of battery and DRS, but still, it's going to be a big improvement. 41.7. What a difference now that we've been released. I don't think we're that quick. It's just the AI, for some reason, when they're running in a train around here, they're just terrible. So they're just really slow. They lose a lot of time, you know. Either way, pull chair isn't really that quick. Latifi's about to drop out of range, so he should be overtakeable, if that's even a word, at the end of the lap. Right, let's see if I can get within range. Latifi using a bit of battery to pull away. It's going to be close. I think I should just about make it. Nope, never mind. Using battery, so we're going to miss out, and I'm out of juice now. Completely dried up, so hopefully next lap we should be close enough, if we're lucky. Now this lap we are within DRS range, no doubt about it. We're scheduled to pit next lap. I might pit this lap and go for an undercut, because we struggle on cold tyres. What's the tyre word saying? You know what?
Right, let's have you in at the end of this lap, please.
Let's go for it. Let's gamble, let's go for an undercut. Slow it down. Lovely stuff. Right, let's see. We can make this work, I'm confident. We might struggle on the hard tyre, but it'll be nice and warm once we get round. Just going to do a nice smooth stop. Oh my god. Never mind. Undercut gone. And my limiter didn't go off for some reason. Oh, what a disaster. Oh, that's that. Forget it. We'll have to just try and catch back up on track and pass them one by one. Whenever I try something different, man, it just backfires straight away, every single time. Albon's going to be past here pretty quickly as well. Well, here comes Albon. I'm not going to use battery. I'm going to use Albon as my way to get closer to the cars ahead. Tyres nicely up to temp. Everyone in the pit lane now. Here comes Alex. We'll let him go by, and I'm just going to latch onto his DRS basically and let him drag me along. Straight line speed, by the way, looking pretty damn good. Definitely a positive. There's Latifi though, 5.6 up the road. That's how much time we've lost. Really not ideal. So Teo pits along with the rest of the remaining AI cars. I will say one thing, Albon isn't that quick. I'm going to latch behind and basically just save ERS for as long as I can before he pits. As it seems like he'll be in soon. Tyre wear picking up and catching up with him right now, so I'm just going to use it as a chance to recharge, so then I can deploy the rest of the battery to try and catch up to Latifi. Gap about 4 seconds as we made up some ground while he was warming up his tyres. He's now battling with Ocon, so that might cost him some further time. Right then, whatever happens this lap, I'm going to pass Albon now as I feel a lot quicker, and I've got a decent amount of battery recharged, so we can go on the hunt with that. Here we go then. I'm expecting him to pit anyway, but if he doesn't, then we'll breeze by it. Here we go, onto the main straight. Let's see if he pits. Yes, he is. There we go. So I'm not going to use any battery. We'll just use the DRS to get the job done. Up to P15, and we can now go on the hunt. Let's see what kind of pace we have. I'm going to start to push now. It was pretty decent last time when I started to push. Let's see if it's more of the same. Little moment there though. Right, we're on for a personal best. The fastest lap of the race is a 41.0, I believe.
The fastest lap at this point in time is a 1 minute 41.0.
So we're not a million miles off the pace, you know, considering we don't even have DRS, that's not bad. Let's keep chipping away though. Starting to catch up now to the cars ahead. Just got to try and keep putting these lap times in every single lap. There's exactly 5 cars ahead of us, which means that would get us into the points. Alfa Romeo at the front of it. Let's keep chasing them down, but there's points on the table here. I believe there might still be a few cars in the hard tire that may have to pit. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. We'll get confirmation now either way. Car feels good, and we've got Aitken in the pits, so yeah, he had to get off the hard tire, so that's P14 for us, so definitely points up for grabs just ahead of us here. Perez is in this little scrap as well, which is quite surprising. Gap now 2.3 as we're getting closer. Oh, that was close. I think I brushed the wall there. Went a bit wide at the apex. Anyway, look at this, we're now within DRS range. We're going to use a bit more battery just to really make sure we get within a second. But we're now behind Latifi. Has been overtaken by Ocon, and Ocon has dropped out of DRS range of the cars ahead, so it's going to be a 3-way scrap here for P12 for now in the short term, as Latifi's going to keep yo-yoing with DRS behind Ocon, but we're now in this fight as well, so let's see if we can make some moves.
Okay, here's some information on Latifi. They've got an issue with their car, they're going to be slow.
That's good news. Almost hit the wall there, as Russell and Perez battling away, and now Ocon getting stuck in. It's game on this race. The AI seem to be very good at taking time out of each other in wheel-to-wheel combat. Only bad thing now, Perez at the front of this train is going to start pulling away. But we're in the mix here, and Latifi has issues, so we should be able to pass him ASAP. Let's not waste too much time, as I can see a point on the table of this race, and I don't want to let it get away. To be fair, that would be something. If we can catch Perez in the Red Bull and finish ahead of him and get a point, that would be unreal. Here we go then, on Latifi. We're going to have to be a bit bold here and go for an out of the ordinary pass. Leaving space as we go through that. Never mind. Not ideal. Not finish the moves. But had to go through. Right, let's go, let's go. Let's use a big chunk of battery here to make sure we pull away. Don't want to waste time battling with a car that's got issues. Up next, Ocon, and then should be Russell as well, as they'll start battling, I think. Right about now, there we go. They're battling to turn 1, lovely stuff. Okay, we're going to have a look at George, although he's going to have DRS on Ocon, which isn't ideal. I broke myself a little bit there as well, which isn't going to help. Let's see, got a good chunk of battery left to use as we close up through the chicane. Russell may even drop out of DRS range of Ocon here, it's going to be close. But I think he just held on. That Haas is pretty damn speedy on the straight. Closing in though. Come on. Oh, that was late. Whew. That was late. Very late. But we're through. No DRS though for this straight. Luckily we traction up nicely. P12. Up next. Ocon. Let's get after it. We're not going to pass Ocon this lap as I don't have a ton of battery. I'm going to work on a bit of recharge. Unfortunately, Perez has now got up to pace, so I don't think we're getting a point unless someone drops out of the top 10. So, yeah, let's just focus on being Ocon to P11 in this race, and then if something happens ahead, we get lucky. Ooh, there we go. Carlos Sainz in the pits. This could be the gift for a point, although admittedly, a Ferrari on soft tyres would be pretty damn hard to stop at the end of the race. And Sainz is right there, so it's not going to be ideal. I did see some debris exit of turn 2 last lap, so that would be Carlos's front wing. Anyway, he's P13 for now behind Russell, so let's see if we can pass Ocon. That would help to put another car between us. But I am trying to save battery, so it's a bit of a balancing act right now. 4 laps to go. Right, we're going to try and pass Ocon and then push and drive like a stabbed rat as fast as we possibly can. Sainz has now passed Russell, so very important that we get Ocon here and try to get into the points and then try to pull away. Here we go then. Let's close in on the Alpine without DRS. We should be able to get close enough into turn 1 without having to use all of our battery. Ocon goes defensive. Gonna have a look around the outside. There we go. Ocon put himself on a very tight angle and defensive line into turn 1, so job done for us. Now then, let's try and pull away before Sainz arrives. 3 laps to go next time we cross the line. We could be on for a point here. Okay, attempt number 1 from Carlos. I think I've got this one covered off. On the main straight, I think the issue is going to be the second straight after turn 2. That's going to be where Carlos is going to eat me up in turn 1, turn 2 on traction. This straight's fine, we've got very decent top end speed. But let's see how we get on through turn 1 and turn 2. Nicely done through turn 1. But Carlos just gaining so much through there. Turn 2. Nice traction there. Yeah, forget it, I've got no chance. I'm not even going to waste the battery that I have. I'd rather see if I've got a chance to fight back against Carlos at the end of the race, or at the end of the lap. Let's see. The softs did seem to drop off quite a lot on Albon, but I think in Carlos's case in a Ferrari they might still be okay. Okay, we've just about held on to Carlos's DRS here, heading on to the last lap. Let's see, man. As long as we have DRS at this point next lap, we've got a chance. And this is all I want, a chance to try and nab a point. Seems like we have got some good straight lines being compared to the Ferrari once we get the DRS open, so let's see. We'll save all of our battery for the end of the lap and see if we get lucky. Although I'm not feeling too optimistic. I think Sainz will still drop me probably, but we'll give it a shot. Trying to stay close. I'm using battery now because I don't want to fall away, but I think Carlos is using up his reserves. He's just dropping me on the straight now all of a sudden. I can't respond to that kind of straight line speed. Hamilton wins. That was not a good corner through there. Shame. I think we're just going to miss out. We're just a bit too far back. And I've just lost the RS through there. Damn it. Bit of a shame. Still though, what performance, what recovery after qualifying. I could have maybe defended a bit harder against Carlos, but I still don't think I stood a chance. But anyway, P11, good recovery, and we'll take that, man. That's not bad. No points, but still a good performance.
Team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners.
So job done then in Baku as Hamilton picks up the win ahead of Charles Leclerc and Fernando Alonso. Zhou Guanyu in P4 in the second Mercedes, great drive from him, getting a decent points haul for the first time in a while. Then both McLaren's Ricciardo and Norris P5, P6. Verstappen in the first of the Red Bulls, only P7 ahead of Schumacher, Perez and Sainz, who finishes P10 with a fastest lap. We miss out on the points, P11, shout out Jan Otmir and to his chat, P11, we know all about that. Ocon P12, Russell 13th ahead of Paul Chair, P14 again. Decent drive from Teo in the end, to be fair. Definitely a much better race pace. Tsunoda, Stroll, Vettel, Magnussen, Aitken, Albon, Latifi all miss out on the points with Gasly out of the race. Standings, we are still 12th, equal on points with Mick Schumacher, but we're ahead on countback due to a higher finishing position. Hamilton takes the lead of the championship, equal on points with Leclerc, but takes the lead on countback. Very big moment as Hamilton chases the 8th title. In the Constructors, Mercedes also take top spot and overtake Ferrari by 12 points. So game on, McLaren and Red Bull not too far behind, and we're still sitting in P7 comfortably ahead of AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo. So there's a lot. Let's go into upgrades. Now, as you can see on the 14th, we have a triple personnel upgrade, which of course we spoke about at the start of the episode was going to arrive. We're going to go ahead and add some activities, driver promotion, filming, and second driver external training. That side, we've got 1800 R&D points to spend, so let's see what we have available. So, DRS maximum slot gap, potentially an upgrade. No discounts on the front downforce, which we need to work on, to be fair. We do have quite a bit of understeer, so that would be something I'd like to improve, but I'd like to get some discounts if possible. Halo is a small discount. Chassis, brakes, not really keen on that. Fuel tank positioning as well. Heat dispersing wheel rims for tyre wear, not bad, but everything seems quite expensive at this point. Rotor speed and the ERS, that's not too bad actually. Might be worth looking into that. I think though, considering options, I'm going to go for a front downforce. We struggled with understeer this weekend, and even though there's no discount, I need to get an improvement on the car, so we'll go for that, and hopefully it works out. I'm tempted to rush it. Do I take a chance and rush it? No, I'm going to keep it safe. Standard. Let's not risk it. Right, that side, I think we're done. We've got that minor engine power upgrade arriving for the next race in Canada. So, yeah, let's move to the next race. And job done. Happy days. The personnel upgrades have arrived, so we've got level 1 on everything now. So that's going to be good for Paul Chair to get his teeth sunk in and try to improve his pace. If we quickly look at his stats, actually, with that upgrade, it should be improved. Yeah, you can see +5 on experience, racecraft awareness, and pace, so not bad. It's also got good focus, so happy days. Either way, guys, Canada next. If you enjoyed this race, leave a like, subscribe as always for daily content. As always, check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them already. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care. That's goodbye from me.